Have you ever wondered about the wisdom contained in the verses of Proverbs 31:1-9? Welcome to a journey through one of the most profound passages in the Bible. Today we'll be discussing Proverbs 31:1-9, a set of verses that offers a unique perspective on leadership, morality, and righteousness. This passage is unique because it's an advice from a mother to her son, but this isn't any ordinary son. It's King Lemuel, a leader of his people. His mother isn't just providing him with motherly advice, she's imparting wisdom that has the potential to shape a nation. The verses paint a vivid picture of a king's responsibilities and the moral dilemmas he might face. They touch upon the dangers of indulgence, the importance of justice, and the role of a leader in society. This isn't just advice for a king, but wisdom for us all. As we delve deeper, we will uncover the wisdom and relevance of these verses in our lives today. The first 3 verses set the foundation for the discourse that follows. These words echo with a profound sense of wisdom and counsel, perhaps spoken by a mother to her son, a queen to her prince, or a sage to a seeker of truth. Let's delve into their significance. What, my son? And what, son of my womb? And what, son of my vows? These phrases are more than mere questions. They are an invitation to introspection, a call to examine one's actions and choices. The repetition of the term son underscores the deep personal and emotional connection between the speaker and the listener. They suggest a plea, an urging for the listener to heed the wisdom about to be imparted. Now, let's move on to the second part of our exploration. Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. At first glance, this might seem like a warning against women or relationships, but it's essential to dig deeper. The strength here refers to one's moral and spiritual vigor, the inner fortitude that enables one to make wise and righteous decisions. The caution is against losing oneself in relationships that compromise this strength, that sway one from the path of virtue. Similarly, that which destroys kings is a metaphor for the vices that have led to the downfall of even the mightiest. It's a caution against succumbing to temptations that compromise one's integrity and character. It's a reminder that the true strength of a ruler, or indeed any individual, lies not in their power or wealth, but in their ability to uphold justice and righteousness. These verses warn against the destructive power of immoral relationships and the importance of maintaining one's integrity. They serve as a timeless reminder that our choices define us, and it's through wise decision-making that we can truly fulfill our potential. The next 4 verses caution against the misuse of power and intoxication. Let's dive into the text. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes intoxicating drink. Here the biblical author is speaking directly to Lemuel, a king. The message is clear. Those in positions of authority and power, like kings and princes, should avoid intoxication. But why? What's the danger in a little drink? The answer lies in the subsequent verses. Lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. The risk is that intoxication could cloud their judgment, making them forget the law they are meant to uphold, and pervert the justice they are supposed to administer. The implication is that intoxication could lead to an abuse of power, resulting in unjust treatment of the afflicted, the vulnerable and marginalized in society. The next verse takes a turn. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to those who are bitter of heart. Here the author suggests that strong drink and wine might be appropriate for those who are perishing or are bitter of heart. The comforting effects of alcohol might help them forget their troubles, even if only for a moment. The final verse of this scene reads, "Let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more." The person in question here is presumably poor and in misery. The suggestion is that for this person, drinking might provide a temporary escape from their harsh reality. In sum, these verses provide a cautionary tale about the dangers of intoxication, particularly for those in power. They serve as a reminder that those in positions of authority have a responsibility to uphold justice and fairness, and intoxication can cloud that duty. These verses highlight the dangers of intoxication and its potential to cloud judgment and pervert justice. The final 2 verses provide a call to action for righteous leadership. Delving into these verses, we find a profound message that reverberates through time, as relevant today as it was in ancient times. Let's explore the meaning of "open your mouth for the speechless" in the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. This verse is not just a command, but an impassioned plea, a call for justice for those who have no voice of their own. It's a call to action, challenging leaders to not be silent, to not turn a blind eye, but to actively advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. This includes not only those who are physically unable to speak, but also those who are silenced by society, by oppression, by poverty. The phrase, "in the cause of all who are appointed to die," may seem ominous, but it's a stark reminder of our shared mortality. It calls leaders to consider those who face life-threatening situations, perhaps due to illness, violence, or extreme poverty. It's a call to remember the value of every life, to fight for the rights and dignity of each individual, regardless of their circumstances. The second part of the verse, "Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy," reinforces this call to action. It's a reminder for leaders to not only speak, but to speak with righteousness, with fairness and justice. It urges leaders to not just passively observe, but to actively intervene, to plead for those who are marginalized, those who are poor and needy. These verses are a timeless call for justice and compassion. They urge those in positions of power to use their influence for the good of all, particularly for those who are most vulnerable. They underscore the idea that true leadership is not about power, but about service, about using one's voice to uplift others, to promote fairness and justice. These verses emphasize the responsibility of leaders to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves and to judge righteously. So, what can we learn from Proverbs 31:1-9 in our lives today? This passage from the Bible offers us timeless wisdom that remains pertinent in our day-to-day lives, regardless of our religious beliefs or cultural backgrounds. The first few verses remind us of the importance of holding on to our strength and integrity, not succumbing to the allure of destructive behaviors or people. It's a call to maintain our focus, and not to lose ourselves in the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. It urges us not to let our energies be drained by those who might lead us astray or cause us to forget our purpose. The next verses then shift the focus to the dangers of intoxication, specifically for those in positions of leadership. It's not about demonizing wine or strong drink, but rather highlights the potential perils of indulging in such substances to the point where it affects our judgment and ability to rule justly. This is a lesson about moderation and the careful management of our desires and appetites. A message that is as relevant today as it was when these words were first written. The verses then move on to suggest a compassionate use for strong drink to ease the suffering of those in distress. It isn't a call to drown sorrows in alcohol, but rather an acknowledgement of the harsh realities of life and the solace that can sometimes be found in forgetfulness. It's a poignant reminder that we should always strive to alleviate suffering where we can, even in small ways. Finally, the last two verses emphasize the responsibility that comes with power and influence. It calls on us to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, to judge righteously, and to champion the cause of the poor and the needy. It's a reminder that leadership is not about self-aggrandizement or personal gain, but about service to others. It's about using our voices and our resources to uplift those who are downtrodden and to ensure justice is served. In essence, these verses from Proverbs 31:1-9 remind us to live with integrity, to manage our desires wisely, to show compassion to those in distress, and to use our power and influence to stand up for justice. They call on us to be mindful of our actions and the impact they have on those around us, and to constantly strive to be better versions of ourselves. Whether you are a leader in a position of power or an individual navigating your personal life, the wisdom contained in these verses remains relevant and applicable today.